Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nikki Starr and I'm coming on here live to share some things that have been in my field this week. And they're connected to tying up the loose ends in life, love, connection, relationships, healing the past for a greater future. So it all kind of started with my dreams. Sometimes my dreams, they don't get me in trouble, but they make me do things that maybe I wouldn't normally do. So if I have a dream about a person, I usually take it very seriously. I look at dreams as a way of communicating on a soul level with another person. And I had this experience where I had a dream of two different people last week, and I decided to reach out to them to kind of tie up loose ends to make sure all was good. And then I kind of got to thinking, like, who else do I need to tie up loose ends with? And what I mean by that is, let's say if a relationship ended or you just kind of went on your separate ways, but you kind of never really closed it up. Sometimes for both people karmically, it could be a good idea to like tie up those loose ends. So what I mean by that is say like, hey, that situation that happened, like I just want you to know I'm sorry if it affected you. I'm sorry if it brought any kind of pain or hurt into your life. I feel that we're all so powerful and life is a co-creation with each other. And you may not even realize, because I see it all the time with my clients, you could have a challenge in your relationship and it could stem from a time in your life in the past, like elementary school, high school, college, and it's affecting how you are in relationship in the present, whether it's romantic relationship or even just friendships as well. And it's really been fascinating. And even I had a client here this past weekend, and so much of the work that we ended up having her do was to really clear things energetically with past relationships. And it's just fascinating how that works. And everything is energy. And people are just mirrors. Like, we're just mirrors for each other. And so I spent some time this week reaching out to people being like, hey, remember that time when this happened? Well, I'm really sorry. I send you love. I hope all is well with you. I just hope you can forgive me. And it was so beautiful. I entered into like conversations with them and catch up. And even though we're not going to like talk all the time, it felt really good, like so much lighter. I can literally think back and just feel goodness. Hey, Jeff. So I see some of you are popping on now. So when we kind of clear air between us and other people and ourselves and the past, we literally receive energy. Like when things get lighter, especially through like forgiveness is such a powerful practice and it ends up giving us energy. Yes, we forgive the other person, but we do it for ourselves and vice versa. Like when people forgive us, it's almost like a cord between you and them is like released. So the other thing that happened this week was my neighbor died. And I felt emotional about it, even though we knew he was going to die. I mean, everyone dies, right? But he had cancer and he was declining. And, over the quarantine, he had to miss some of his sessions for his chemo and such. And, I had lived in near this beach in Malibu before, and then I moved away. And then when I came back, I reached out to some people. I wrote a post about this. I reached out to some people and I was like, oh, did he die? And they were like, no, he didn't. I was like, okay, but I kind of felt it. And then when I moved back, we had a catch up one day, very briefly, because I actually had a client with me. And then I hadn't seen him. And then the neighbors were telling me he was sick in bed. And I kind of felt like I wanted to go to him, but we were close where we would see each other on the beach. We would always talk. He was a man in his 60s, beautiful, laid back energy, long white hair and blue eyes. And he would walk with a staff. So kind of some people have Gandalf energy. He was kind of more of a surfer Gandalf. Anyway, he was a super sweet man and always listened really well and was so positive, despite his diagnosis, so positive. So this weekend I had a client here with me and my neighbor sent me a text message letting me know that he had passed away. And I felt sad about it, and they were doing kind of a gathering at sunset. So I went down and I read this passage about that helps souls transition into the afterlife. And what was really interesting was to see some neighbors who in the past they weren't really talking, but because of this situation that happened, there was like greater connection that happened. So death kind of got me thinking of like, you know, what matters most in life? It's love and connection. Where do we have some other ends to tie up, maybe around where we're holding grudges, and how can we like let go of those grudges? So I was kind of seeing that and just realizing like, I mean, what really matters aside from like love and connection? Like nothing. We don't need to be quarreling over anything. And so that really got me thinking. It was so interesting as Day of the Dead is coming up on November 1st. And sometime back, like it's a very powerful holiday. Like, you know, we're so connected, you know, our souls and our bodies last beyond this lifetime, you know, and we have connections to our ancestors, like even future generations. And that's all within how we're energetically tied to people. So Day of the Dead is a time to remember those relations of those who have passed on. And for some people, like the souls of people who have been close to them who have passed on serve as spirit guides as they continue on in their journey in life. So I really love to take time to honor the dead, and I do ritual on that day. And as you know, I'm doing my Ascension Codes transmissions, and even before my neighbor died, I was like, I'm going to do it on November 1st, and the theme is going to be death. And then he died, and then it was like even more like wisdom, soul wisdom was coming through to share with all of you. So I feel like when we have close encounters with death and we take time to talk about death, it helps us to tie up loose ends in life, because, you know, they say that the best way to live is to learn how to die, and the best way to die is to learn how to live. It's like this cycle. So the questions are like, what in your life, especially in relation to relationships, can be tied up? What I mean by tied up is like made right. How can you come into right relations with the people in your life? And I find that that's so much of the coaching work and the healing work that I do, is it's really not about the other people. It's about our relationship to them. And they're just serving as like teachers and mirrors for us. So time and time again, like the work is really within, and then that shifts the relationships on the outside. As we come into deeper knowings and understandings within our heart, within our being, within our energy fields, the relationships around us change. And I always remind clients, like, never set goals or intentions that are attached to other people, because you don't ever want to step in the way of someone else's free will. However, we can set goals for how we want our relationships to be in life. And we can do the work internally to evolve and grow and change and shift. And the relationships that are meant to be a match for us will stay, and the ones that are not will fall away. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that one relationship needs to be forever. Like, it can have its season, its lesson. It's like, you know, some can be for a lifetime. Oftentimes our family are for a lifetime. Even if you choose not to talk to your family, like, it's still blood. So they're in your life forever, whether you like it or not. And they still have the ancestral connection to you. But really, all of our relations, and we want to minimize the karma that we create in our relationships. And I feel that we do that by, you know, really just showing up, doing our part as best as we can, you know, doing your part to right things when you wrong them, and apologize and do what you feel is fair. And if people can't meet you halfway, then that's okay, that you've done your part. So as long as you do your part, you're not responsible for how other people show up. But of course, as long as you have the intention of love, harmony, connection, wanting for whatever's fair and for the greatest and best good, then trust that justice and grace and divine timing and divine will take the reins and guide things. You don't need to always control how things happen. And I'm starting to notice that more and more, and I have really allowed, this week I noticed I settled into a deeper level of grace and trust, of just like, you know what, I'm unattached to the outcome. I want whatever's for the best good. When we can reach that place, then life can become more peaceful, because then we can really trust, like, whatever happens is for the greatest good. Of course, we show up and do our part. Of course. So, like, you take action, you do your part, and then the universe will meet you based on what's for the highest and best good, based on your energy, based on your goals, based on what you're desiring, based on your dharma, your destiny, your mission. So, yes, it's been really fun coming on live here more regularly. If any of you have been wanting to dive into deeper work with me, you know, I have so many ways to do that. Like even right now, I'm hosting my meditation course. I have a year of courses that I've been offering called the Ultimate Year Experience, where every month I'm sharing a brand new course. I'm also sharing every single month the Ascension Codes, which is energy healing and activation. And I truly believe this new paradigm we're creating to live your ultimate life is a re-education. We literally are reteaching ourselves about all the aspects of life. And a big part of that I feel like I'm bringing to the world is the awareness around our energy and how our energy, our thoughts, our actions are creating everything in every moment. And how we're so powerful. We are like God creator beings that we can create any life we desire. And that everything that's happening in our life is simply a reflection of who we are. So once we do the internal work to shift things, then it's just incredible to see what happens. So it's never about what's outside of you. It's always about what's inside of you. And the healing, the transformation, the personal development work that we do every day in every moment is what is deciding our lives. So when something happens, you created it. When something's not happening, you created it. And that radical responsibility is life-changing, is so life-changing. And the more you show up and the more you do your healing work, the more beautifully things unfold. And that's been my journey, you know, and I can literally just share what I've learned traveling the world, all the different professions from becoming a doctor and leaving that to all the ways I've cycled through the healing arts to how I share it now more in this teaching, coaching, healing, facilitator, mentor role. And it's such a gift. And I feel that I'm in a place now where I dedicate my life in service to the greater good, to the collective, and it feels really good. And showing up every day on all the different social media channels and offering all these different programs and courses to support all of our great healing and becoming. Because what fun would it be if I just kept all of this all to myself? That wouldn't be fun at all. It's like we want to spread the wealth. So when I felt like I was sitting on this pile of treasures, and so the Ultimate Year program is definitely a way to get in my world where I'm literally just like sharing all the knowledge I've accumulated all over the years. So with that, I invite you to DM me. If any of my posts or anything, these lives ever speak to you, like reach out to me. I'd love to hear how they speak to you. Of course, you can comment and share them, but then definitely connect with me. I would love to know more about where you're at, how I can support you. And with that, I send you so much love. I wish you a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now, and see you soon. I'm Dr. Nikki Starr, and this was another tip to support you in living your ultimate life.